Never give up is really bad advice. It's easier to be unremarkable than to accept reality and quit. So if you want to be remarkable, you have to get over the fear of quitting, and here's how. Climbing a mountain requires persistence, while starting fresh on a new one takes courage. I believe that men should be able to make decisions, and this video will help you to master the art of decision making. It's all about the dip. No, I'm not talking about the homemade dip that your wife makes for you. And no, I'm not talking about cold dips in the kiddie pool, fun as they are. No, I'm talking about a book that I read recently called The Dip, written by Seth Godin. It's about quitting the wrong stuff, sticking with the right stuff, and having the guts to do one or the other. It changed the way I think about making important decisions, and it could save your life. So I'm going to be sharing some personal examples, but first a little context. In this book, Seth talks about 3 different kinds of curves. The first one is the dip, and almost everything in life is dictated by this dip. In the beginning, when you first start something, it's fun. Initially, the rapid learning that you're experiencing keeps you going, and then the dip happens. That dip is the odyssey between starting something and mastery of it. And smart people don't just endure the dip, they lean into it. The second kind of curve is called the Cul-De-Sac, and that's a French term that means dead end. It's the kind of situation where you work and not much changes, things aren't really getting better, and they're not getting a whole lot worse either. And a dead end can be really dangerous because it prevents you from doing something else. So if you find yourself in a cul-de-sac, you need to get off it, because the opportunity cost of investing your whole life in something that won't improve is just too high. And just know that if you're making the choice to get off a cul-de-sac in your life, it's not some kind of moral failing, it's just smart quitting. And the third kind of curve in the book is called the cliff. The cliff is the kind of situation where you can't quit until you fall off, and then everything just smashes apart. I started towards a cliff when I was just 11 years old, when I chose to start smoking tobacco. And cigarettes were designed to be addictive. The pleasure of smoking increases over time. Meanwhile, the pain of quitting keeps getting higher and higher. And that's where everything falls apart, because when you multiply that over time, that's when you're at the edge of the cliff. So if you find yourself on either a cul-de-sac or a cliff, you just need to quit. In future videos, I'm going to be sharing more about my personal process for quitting smoking, because that's a cliff I just need to quit, and I want to share that journey with you, so be sure to subscribe. So now I want to get into some of the more details about the dip. The dip is actually the key to success in any meaningful project. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from all of this, it's this. The dip is why you're here. Think of all the investments you made in energy, time, and money to get to this moment. All of it so you can confront this dip right now. That's what it's all about. And you get the gold at the end of the rainbow when you embrace this dip and treat it like the golden opportunity that it really is. So now I want to share some personal examples of where the curves have showed up in my own life. The first one was way back when I was young. I actually made the choice to quit high school. I didn't really know it at the time, but looking back on it, I can see that that path was a cul-de-sac. And so I made the choice before moving on from high school to college to actually quit before investing more time, energy, and resources. Then right after leaving high school, I went through job after job after job, hundreds of jobs. And each time I quit, because it wasn't more than a few days or weeks before I realized that every job that I started was a dead end for me. And so I made the choice to quit before making some sort of career choice out of a job that I really didn't feel was going anywhere. A more recent example was a podcast that I started this year in April with my brother. We've been addicted to alcohol our whole adult lives. So back in April, we started a podcast together called The Sober Bros. And it was a brilliant idea. We really enjoyed it. It was an intervention for us so we could stop drinking. And we helped some other people too. But I made the tough choice to quit that podcast before, so in between starting it and monetizing, turning it into a business and mastery of it years down the road, there was a big dip in there, and it was tough to go through. And so that's actually when I read this book, The Dip, and it really got me thinking, do I want to continue on the road of this podcast and endure the dip to the other side, which could be years? And certainly we could have, but I made the choice to quit because I found in my heart that reviving this YouTube channel, narrowing my niche down so I could serve young men like you, was more important to me. And so the YouTube journey that I'm committed to now, certainly there's a major dip in it between starting this and mastery of it. But the difference here is that I'm making the conscious decision not to quit when the going gets tough. So you might be thinking to yourself, when should I make the decision to commit to something or quit it? Well, there's a few points I want to say about that. There's like a funny example that comes up for me I want to share with you. You ever go to the grocery store and it's like busy and there's like a lot of long lines in there? You get into one line and it's not moving fast enough for you. And so you kind of look over and see that the other line's a little bit shorter, so you move over there. That's a quit to start something new. But then Murphy's Law, the line you just moved to is moving slower. So then the one you were just in is actually moving faster. So you switch back and that's quitting again, setting yourself back, when all the while the goal to succeed is to get to the checkout and get out. But it's just a funny thing if you ever watch that in a store. A similar example would be if you're driving on a highway and you're in one lane and you're trying to go fast, and so is everyone else. So you look over to the other lane and it's going a little bit faster, so you switch on over there. You just quit this one to move over here and start again. But Murphy's Law strikes again. The lane you're in now is going slower, so the lane you were just in is moving faster, and so you switch back. And I've seen people do that all the time. It's hilarious, but the goal is to get to wherever you're going, and like serial quitting can actually set you back. So this is why we need to be careful with these important life choices. Now, there's two questions in the book that Seth offers us about quitting and when we should quit. There's two questions. Here's the first one. Am I panicking? We can always make the choice to quit at any time, so at least wait until we're done panicking so we can calm our emotions. The reason why so many of us quit before we probably should is that we don't have a compass or a plan, and when the going gets tough, the easiest thing to do is quit. And the second question being asked of us in the book here is, am I making progress? Because if we're trying to succeed in a job, relationship, or any task, we're either moving forward, moving backward, or just standing still. And if we're not making forward progress on whatever we're doing, then why would we even stick with it? It's actually crazy, because think of all the other things that we could be doing with our time that would better serve us and other people. So I believe that men should learn how to make and keep commitments in life. To get through that dip, you're going to have to decide what's essential, commit to it, and quit everything else. If whatever you're doing isn't going to make a difference in the world, then why not just quit? Quit now and use that space to find the energy and resources to confront another dip in your life that really matters. So I definitely recommend that you read this book for yourself. There's a lot of wisdom in there, and you can find the link in the description to check it out for yourself. If you want to share more about the curves going on in your life, I want to invite you to drop a comment. Maybe you want some help making a decision. I'll be reading the comments, and I'd love to hear from you about that. And subscribe for more content like this on how men like you can improve the health of your body and mind while making better decisions in life.